The Tomorrow War is a 2006 space sim based on a popular book series by Alexander Zorich. The militaristic space Russia leads a collective of human superstates called directories into an era of galactic expansion. The books sold millions of copies. The game sold dozens. And that's for a reason. This is an 8 out of 10 story, trapped inside a 2 out of 10 game. Damn. Same. A notable feature of the setting is the Global South representation. The most technologically advanced fighter design was made in the South American Directory. It's a major plot point. Another big idea of the Tomorrowverse is something called retrospective evolution. It's when masses of people spontaneously revert to the way of life of the olden times, while still maintaining advanced technology. Back on Earth, the effects of retrospective evolution are relatively mild. The space Russians have returned to certain Soviet customs, like addressing each other as comrade. Things get a lot more trad in the deep space. One day, the population of a remote colony just woke up Zoroastrian. I hate when that happens. They declared independence from the infidel UN, and after 2 centuries of colonization and the industrial use of cloning technology, the Zoroastrian Star Empire, known as the Great Concordia, has grown to rival the United Nations in power. Another fourth political theory-ism of the Tomorrowverse is the writer's distrust of the true enemies of mankind, the Anglo-Saxi. The Americans don't have a military in the setting, because having a military is against their authentic nature. The residents of the former United States have tons of fun. They drink beer and play baseball all day, having left behind their tedious materialism, the philosophy that, historically speaking, was once foreign to them. On the other hand, the Europeans and Russians are Nietzschean Apollonic civilizations with a clear historical predisposition towards heroism. As you can see, there are a lot of very normal things going on in this story. The twist is that Alexander Zorich, the author of the books, is actually a duo of Russophilic writers from Kharkiv, Ukraine. Surprise! The Russian supremacist fiction wasn't written by Russians. April the 2nd, the year 2621, the training carrier Zuiho. We are Andrei Rumyantsev, a cadet in a prestigious space academy. The Tomorrow War draws heavily from the classic Chris Roberts Wing Commander games. In between the campaign missions, we have these social segments where Andrei can visit different areas of the ship, talk to the characters, and develop their side plots. In some ways, this game is more mechanically sophisticated than Wing Commander. Rumyantsev has a personal inventory, there is a free look feature, and dialogue options, like in an RPG.
Wonderful!
The machine behind the mechanic is the Gorinich-class space superiority fighter, named after the mythical East Slavic dragon. Fighters are called Flugers in this. Andrei's first assignment is a training flight, so let's briefly go over the basics. The Flugers are equipped with planetary drives. These are used for space dogfights and for flying in the planetary atmosphere. Yes, this is a feature, we'll be doing this a lot. In addition, every fighter has something called an orbital drive. You charge it for a few seconds and then it makes you go fast. But not too fast. The game is around 23 hours long, and half of that time will be spent just staring at the screen while the ship is flying between objectives on autopilot. All Flukers are armed with auto-aiming laser cannons. Once you figure out how to use them, the game's difficulty becomes trivial. The final sequence of the intro mission has us fighting off a full-blown invasion of the solar system by unknown space aliens. The purpose of this is to show us the principles of combined arms warfare. The iceberg-looking alien mothership and its fighters are facing off against the carrier Zuiho, 2 escort frigates, and the battlecruiser Ukraina. This is still the tutorial, so it's nearly impossible to die unless you get hit by friendly fire. The Slava-class heavy carrier 3 Saints arrives seconds after the alien threat is pacified. I've seen people make fun of this design. LOL, a space runway. Well, the reason it has a runway is because just like the Flugers, the big capital ships are also capable of operating in the atmosphere. Checkmate, haters. In any case, get used to it, because it's our new home. My name is Totsky. I'm a flight officer of the Carrier 3 Saints. The alien race of Jeeps have invaded the territory of our ally Concordia. The Jeeps put troops on the ground on the world of Naotar and destroyed the Concordian garrison. An expeditionary fleet was dispatched to assist our brothers of the Great Race. The Jeeps are the strangest enemy the Great Race ever faced. Their warships are essentially just asteroids equipped with Luxogen drives of unknown design. Confusingly, this is not the same race of aliens we fought in Mission 1. Command wants us to escort a pair of Hagen-class Euroflugers to the surface of Naotar. The machines are packed with surveillance equipment. Their job is to take a closer look at these Pillars of Eternity. We don't know what they are yet, but TLDR, the plot will eventually reveal that these are basically Jeep's reproductive organs. We tried bombing the Xenos, and that didn't work. But maybe it's because we didn't bomb them hard enough. Andrei volunteers to be a gunner in a torpedo bomber. We used to practice marksmanship at the academy, he says. You shot handguns in the academy. Do you know what sort of cannons torpedo bombers are equipped with? These weapons can tear a Beltian Hulkazor to pieces. On his way to the hangar, Rumyantsev is intercepted by a woman in red. We read your file and came to a curious conclusion. You fought not one, but 2 alien races in a single month. It's like you are attracted to them. The red woman and the mysterious Varys-shaped individual are from GAB, an unfortunately named intelligence service of the United Nations. They give us this thing, a concealable recording device. You didn't even ask if I agreed to carry your spy thing. Don't you agree? Well, yes. That's super. It doesn't matter how skilled Andrei is at operating the turret, because we're flying within a large formation, and the volume of fire is so intense that the aliens are instantly vaporized as soon as they enter the effective range of our guns. Uh-oh, we've been hit by plot bullets. Our pilot is dead. Co-pilot wounded. Happens all the time in this universe. Pilots just die in cockpits. We'll have to take control of the Fluger. Here is a cool mechanic. Pressing the spacebar activates interaction mode, allowing us to interact with most of the buttons on the control console. We can also look around the cockpit like in War Thunder. Get space aliens. Humans are number 1. While en route to 3 Saints, we receive a distress call from the wrecked space fortress Sharukin 17. A Concordian Fluger made an emergency landing and needs assistance. We're just in time. The woman is running out of oxygen. Ahura Mazda bless you, she says. The woman's name is Roshni Tervani, or maybe Tervani, I'm not sure. With her on board, we fly to the Concordian carrier Rimush. I have to admit, I never liked the men of the United Nations for one strange habit they all seem to have. You mean the habit of arranging romantic dates in abandoned space stations? Andrei thinks he's being super clever. I meant the habit of being late. Rumyantsev had previously only seen Concordians in movies. Young man, when I was your age, I starred in one such movie, although I was merely an extra. A rude awakening awaits Andrei back on 3 Saints. The soldiers, armed with space AKs, are here to escort us to the Admiral. We are in big trouble. Rumyantsev went AWOL, landed on a foreign warship, and endangered the life of his co-pilot. We are expelled from the Academy, placed under guard, and are forever banned from operating aerospace vehicles in the Russian directory. Enjoy working as a bus driver or a miner. June 24th, the year 2621. Terra Fuega, a space station belonging to the DNR Corporation, edge of the world.
Прямо так и сказал.
And then he said, you can work as a miner or a bus driver, but you can no longer be a pilot.
А Моника перед...
My ex-wife Monica said something similar. With his military career in ruins, Rumantsev now works as a mercenary pilot for the corporate interests of the South American Directory. The game's second act is quite different. We now receive a salary, which can be spent on ammunition and equipment for our Flugger. And by our Flugger, I mean the corporate-owned, minimally equipped spacecraft we are conditionally allowed to operate. The gentleman at the bar will offer side gigs we can do in addition to story missions. Until now, this game was very similar to Wing Commander, but suddenly it opens up, becoming more like Privateer. Andrei's new buddy Toivo Tosinen is also a mercenary. Two things threaten Terra Fuega: space poachers and space pirates from the Trix Syndicate. Working for the corporation sucks. We should quit, he says. Our ride is the Andromeda cargo hauler.
Есть касание.
The civilian life sure is different. Activate the mineral scanner. Set the scanner for max sensitivity. Fly to a rich asteroid. Decelerate to 30 meters per second or less. Use maneuvering thrusters to land on an asteroid. Deploy mining equipment.
Буровая вышка выставлена.
I enjoy being a space miner. Screw that stuck-up asshole, Admiral Vodka, what's his face.
Ценные советы.
Do you want a valuable advice?
Здесь все только и делают, что...
Everyone here wants to give me their valuable advice.
Что предыдущим советчикам...
I bet the previous advisor was Tosinen.
Угадали.
You're right.
В таком случае...
So my advice is this. Under no circumstances should you listen to Tosinen's advice.
Поэтому буду краток.
We have a lot of things to do, so I'll be brief. You are flying Hagens today, an escort mission.
Процент...
What is our acceptable casualty percentage? We'll forgive you up to 33%. Hagen is a European heavy fighter we got superficially familiar with during our time in the Russian Directory. In addition to the auto-aiming lasers, the Flugger is also equipped with an autonomous rotating gun turret. Upon returning to Terra Fuega, we discover the station swarming with armed troopers. Corporate upgrades our security clearance and tells us a secret. This is the AD-112 cluster. It's chock full of extra rich, extra lucrative asteroids.
СР-сканер включен.
The Hagen was equipped with an artillery cannon, firing Californium rounds. That's a highly illegal nuclear weapon. Our job is to shoot nukes at asteroids, clearing space junk so that the mining team will have an easier time. Corporate did the math, and this is the cheapest way of doing it. It appears we have an important visitor at Terra Fuega, the Concordian carrier Rimush.
Шасси выпущено.
Oh, hello.
Я так рада вас видеть.
I'm so glad to see you. Roshni Tervani had no idea they terminated us from the academy for rescuing her.
Проклятые клоны.
Damn clones. I hate their pompous chatter, says Gomez the pilot, almost causing a diplomatic incident. Toivo tells him to shut his mouth. If the clones learned about a special something we're keeping in the station. August 6, Terra Fuega. Andrei is now a test pilot. The South American Directory is using the station as a test site for the newest Durandal starfighter, which explains the extra security. Durandal has a space Lamborghini look about it. It's one of the better looking fighters in the game. I like the forward swept wing design. And it's mechanically unique as well. The breakthrough innovation is that Durandal is equipped with a shield generator. It makes the Flugger virtually invulnerable to most weapons. Missiles still go through though. Another limitation is that the shield needs to be turned off in planetary atmosphere. Otherwise we risk entering an uncontrollable tailspin. We stumble upon a hunting party of the Crimson Tigers, the poachers. They are not hostile though. The writers are placing a bunch of Chekhov's guns all over this narrative. Hey Andrei, what's your IQ? Under the World Trade Codex, we are prohibited from employing individuals with your IQ for manual labor. A pirate hunting mission then. The AI flugers would sometimes rotate in place when you hit them. I'm not sure why. It doesn't really help them evade damage. I've seen players in War Thunder beta do this. The woman in red is here. She takes away the listening device and gives us an upgraded version. It should work fine, even at the melting point of tungsten.
Серьезно.
I have doubts I can work fine at the melting point of tungsten. Achieved by training. The spooks still don't know the identity of the blue aliens from the tutorial mission. It's our new GAB assignment. One of the Durandals was hijacked from Terra Fuega, Toivo Tossinen. The chase leads us from system to system until we end up here.
Задание выполнено.
The engine power is insufficient to escape the black hole, forcing us to ask the nearby pirate warship Leviathan for help. The plot wants Andrei to become a pirate.
Послушай, Тойва.
Listen, Toivo, maybe it's not too late for us to go back. It is too late. The pirates have already sent the message to the corporation that we switched sides. August 27, the last arc, the base of the Trix Syndicate.
Товарищи,
Comrades, I meant brothers and sisters, can I ask you a question? Go ahead.
похожих на летающие айсберги.
Have you ever seen starships that look like flying icebergs? Handsome, I am prepared to open all kinds of doors for you, but only if you become my boyfriend. And this pirate shares an anecdote about an alien sighting he heard from a Crimson Tigers defector. Andrei carefully writes everything down. The alien intel becomes an item we carry in our inventory.
Братья.
The leader of the syndicate is the Anglo-Saxon pirate Jeremiah Blood, or the Helmsman, as they call him.
Скажи мне, Кевин,
Tell me, Kevin, what do the pirates say to each other before going on a mission? We say, heal them with fire. The job is to attack a Concordian transport convoy, get rid of the escort flugers, and cover the boarding party as they do their work. Helmsman, this is Charlie from the Watch. The Concordian frigate Kish is moving towards your location. Heal them with fire.
Задание выполнено.
Oh wow, we just blew up a Concordian warship. We have long been planning to eradicate the scum that is the DNR Corporation. For that purpose, the pirates managed to steal a Hagen fighter equipped with Californium cannons. Uh-oh. Have you read the Scrolls of the Righteous?
это что это?
What's that? A book?
Больше, чем книга.
It's more than a book. It's the truth about our pirate life. Only spiritual food is on the menu today. Helmsman's orders. Everyone must read the book before departure. Scrolls of the Righteous. Helmsman wrote it. As you can see, the pirates take their theory reading very seriously.
Красавчик.
Hey, handsome, I just had an idea. Once we are back at the Ark, we should celebrate together, in my quarters.
Скрижали.
Have you read the Scrolls of the Righteous?
А как же?
Of course, the Helmsman is the Hegel of our time. That's Terra Fuega. I can't believe Andrei is just gonna sit here and watch all his friends die. God damn it! The gun is not reacting to the trigger. It's jammed. The day will still be ours. I had hoped to vanquish the wicked with the finesse of a cultured individual, but it appears we'll have to handle it the usual way. Fortunately for those left behind on Terra Fuega, the UN reinforcements arrived just in time. There are UN fighters in the asteroid field, but how did they know we were coming here? We must have a rat on board. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, I am the rat.
Вызывайте пожарников, мерзавцы!
Are we having books for lunch again?
Могу предложить бульон из
I can offer broth made from delicate poultry chicken.
У нас всю неделю этот
We had this cursed broth all week. It's not made out of chicken, it's made out of expired bouillon cubes.
Во всем виноват.
It's all your fault, brother pilots. You work little, but you eat a lot. Almost getting Terra Fuega blown up left an impression on Andrei, who decides this is a good time to defect. Again. So he attempts to surrender to the UN cargo hauler Francis Bacon.
Румянцев!
This is Rumantsev, a pilot for the corporation. I was captured by the pirates and made my escape, requesting permission to dock.
Ответ отрицательный.
Negative.
Но вы хоть понимаете, что
You do understand that I can't go back. If you won't take me, the pirates will make a chicken Kiev out of me.
вы тоже должны
And you must understand, if I allow just anyone to dock, my superiors will make a chicken Kiev out of me. Comancho Santos, our old acquaintance from the corporation, saves Andre by providing the coordinates of the Twilight Ghost, the mothership of Crimson Tigers, the libertarian space poachers. And once again, Rumyantsev switches employers. This story sure has momentum. The Free Fort, base of the Crimson Tigers, Morgenstern system.
Подлейшество.
His foulness Jeremiah Blood is here on an official visit. The poachers and the pirates are locked in a debate over the ownership of a contested planet in the system. The matter will be ultimately decided in a space race. Our boss is a talking tiger, by the way. Name's Guy Titanium Skin.
Опасное сближение.
The race is basically impossible to lose because our opponents never engage their orbital drives for some reason, so they are racing at like 1/10 of their max speed. In the end, we are paid 10,000 space rubles for winning the race. Best boss I've ever had.
Слушай анекдот.
Listen to this joke. A wife is yelling at her husband. You should quit smoking. Think of all the things we could have bought if you didn't spend the money on cigarettes.
Муж отвечает:
And the husband replies, yeah, I know. A fur coat for you and nothing for me.
Я так люблю русских.
I love Russians. They always laugh at my jokes. Fascinating to see what people from the 2000s thought humor was like. So the helmsman refused to accept defeat. Mission 15 is where we hit a game-breaking bug. One of the plot-important conversations doesn't trigger, and the story can't progress. Tomorrow War was shipped with a bug that makes it unfinishable. And as an insult to injury, the bug also corrupts your save. The cause of the bug is an illegal symbol that someone accidentally added to a dialogue file. You fix it by removing the symbol, or by installing an English version of the game that doesn't have this issue.
We have gathered here today in order to come to a common decision about how we shall repay the syndicate for their treachery.
The voice actors are native speakers, which is the most positive thing I can say about this translation.
If we only knew the exact coordinates of the base.
But I know the coordinates. Don't forget, I work for the syndicate.
British Rumyantsev is so weird.
Hello, Mr. Rumi. Camacho said they are sending you to meet with the Concordians. It is great, and I don't even know what they look like. Tell me, how's it going in Concordia?
How? All right, I suppose. They honor a dog. Holy fire! Cloning is permitted, of course.
He talks like a drugged-up wastelander from a Children of the Cathedral clinic.
Wonderful.
So it's a very literal translation, and it appears they have the Oblivion problem, where the audio director failed to properly instruct the VAs, so they are overacting every line. In addition to that, the audio engineers have excessively shortened the natural pauses between words for some reason. You put all this together and, well, it's like being trapped inside a dream.
All right, I suppose. They honor a dog. Holy fire!
Back to the normal version of the game. Face the sun, Andre. Rumyantsev provides the Concordians with the location of the Lost Ark, the pirate HQ, and the Zoroastrians subsequently blow it up. Alas, the Leviathan and Jeremiah Blood escape.
Тебе присматривается.
Guy Titanium Skin took notice of you.
Хочет меня съесть.
Does he want to eat me?
Я чувствую,
I have a feeling he wants to make you his second in command.
так ответственно.
Such responsibility. What kind of a tiger is he?
Клонской программы.
Guy is the masterpiece of the clone's program of animal intelligence acceleration.
Шасси убрано.
Our ride is Abzu, an old Concordian design. Despite being classified as a fighter, Abzu is equipped with two types of anti-ground weapons, which is kind of redundant. After mopping up the remnants of the pirates on the ground, we meet our old friends, the mysterious aliens from Mission 1. This time, they fire back.
Похоже на страшный суд.
This is Judgment Day, says Camacho. Our space poacher career takes a turn for the worse when the unknown space aliens blow up the sun.
Wonderful.
Rumyantsev and Camacho make an emergency landing on the Concordian warship that is about to leave the system. October 7, the year 2621. Sharukin 5, a Concordian orbital space fortress, and a prison. The clones know everything about our pirate adventures, and they confiscated the listening device. They think we are a Russian spy, and they want us to work for them instead. But Andrei will never betray the motherland. October 19, same place, same year. We have a visitor.
Приятного аппетита.
Bon appetit, Comrade Rumyantsev. The Red Woman negotiated our release from the clone captivity, but that comes at a price. We have to agree to everything.
Что официально нашей эскадрильи
Officially, this squadron doesn't exist. The Special Purpose Squadron's primary goal is reconnaissance against the potential enemies of the United Nations. Reconnaissance is a delicate thing. Every Flugger you'll be flying is equipped with an explosive device that can be detonated remotely. We are some kinda suicide squad.
Всегда хотел спросить.
I've always wanted to ask a real OSNAS soldier, why is your narwhal rifle called 3-modal?
В первом режиме нарвал.
Well, in mode 1 you can dig with it, like with a shovel. In mode 2 you can row with it, like with an oar. And in mode 3 you can fly on it, like on a broomstick.
Пельтянского халкозавра.
We are back at our alma mater, the Japanese-built, Russian-operated light carrier Zuiho.
Бы и сам
Honestly, you could have figured it out yourself. The first mode is for firing in the atmosphere, the second is for vacuum, and the third is for underwater engagements. We have found the Leviathan. Andrei is ordered to disable the carrier's engines and cover the OSNAS boarding party.
В эфире Toivo Tosanen.
This is Toivo Tosanen, piloting the Durandal fighter. Perhaps you have heard of it. Our Gab superiors don't seem to be aware of the fact that Durandal's shield is impenetrable to normal laser weapons. We'll have to take it out with our anti-ground cannons. It's like dogfighting with a GAU-8.
Задание выполнено.
Finally, Tosanen. I've been waiting for this for a long time, says Rumyantsev, being uncharacteristically bloodthirsty.
Товарищ Иванов.
Comrade Ivanov, we have taken captive the leader of the Trick Syndicate and one of his henchmen. And the rest of them?
Остальные.
The rest of them killed in a firefight. That's some precision work, you butchers.
Так уж вышло.
It is what it is. Andrei interrogates the prisoners, but Jeremiah doesn't say anything important, and his sidekick just repeats the rumor about alien sightings. It's a redundancy in case you haven't purchased the alien intel earlier in the game. Confusingly, these are not the aliens we were gathering intel on. This species is called the Chorugs. They are about equal to the UN in terms of technology, but thankfully not interested in imperialism. The Chorugs are big weirdos, and they want us to play space football in exchange for their fighter technology. The Red Woman joins our football team. This is how we learn that her name is Alexandra Braun-Zheleznova, a double name, Soviet aristocracy.
Так мы и матч проиграем.
You can push the ball by shooting special missiles or just by bumping into it. Goal!
Есть касание.
And so we get the alien fighters. They have this cool hologram HUD and an insectoid aesthetic, but in terms of function they are identical to the clone Fluggers, which are identical to the UN Fluggers. Vahram system, Concordian space. The system hosts the Tomorrowverse version of Arrakis, a planet that produces space fuel, making interstellar travel possible. This is why we seized the Leviathan. This is why we're flying the Chorug fighters. Plausible deniability. Objective 1 is to obtain visual evidence of the existence of the Concordian missile artillery platform Mithridat. Objective 2 is the reconnaissance of the planet Parkida, where all the spice is. The appearance of the alien fighters confused the clones, who are now debating whether to open fire or if doing so might cause a diplomatic incident with the Chorugs. Just as planned.
Костров дал добро, сбивайте всех.
Once we get to low orbit, they do open fire. Komacho is down. Andrei volunteers to pick him up, but both Comrade Ivanov and Komacho himself instruct us to get the hell out. Instead of reflecting on what just happened, Ivanov gives us a boring lecture on some important space mineral. The mineral is associated with the mysterious blue aliens that keep showing up at random points of the plot. This is the planet where the alien sightings occurred, the one the pirates told us about. Our mission is to fly at a very low altitude from waypoint to waypoint and scan the surface for the mineral. Eventually we find what we are looking for, and much more. It's impossible to explore the alien structure in a flugger, so we send in the Space Marines.
В пещере новостей полный чемодан.
We are in the cave. Tons of news. We found an alien aircraft inside. Seems intact. There is a structure next to it. Looks like a pyramid. Our on-board xenoarchaeology expert, Popescu is his name, suggested that this might be a tomb of one of the aliens. The conversation is interrupted by the commander of Zuiho. Alien warships are approaching. They didn't like us desecrating the tomb. The Leviathan has to make an emergency jump, so we land on Zuiho instead.
Я должна поговорить с вами
I want to talk to you about something.
О чужаках?
About the aliens?
о том,
About what happens tomorrow.
А что будет?
And what will happen? Is there a war tomorrow? Just so we're clear, I did not consent to this. I'm still upset with the spooks because they didn't bail us out when Commodore Vodka demoted us to a bus driver.
Буровая вышка выставлена.
We have an even bigger problem. The Leviathan never re-emerged from the X-Matrix. Our mothership is lost. Ivanov is probably dead. Klim Nastasian, one of the members of our suicide squad, says Ivanov wasn't so bad for a spook. Klim is from a trad planet that reverse evolved into a version of the medieval Rus. People from the Russian directory often hold prejudice against them, but Ivanov didn't. Command thinks this is where we might find the Leviathan, or what's left of it. A Jeeps fighter. Long time no see.
Вызываю Левиафан.
Leviathan, can you hear me? This is Revenko. Leviathan, if you can hear me but can't respond, identify your location with photo rockets. Here it is, collided with a mountain. No survivors. Except for one.
Кто здесь хотел видеть товарища Иванова?
Ivanov fled the ship in a Chorug fighter. After somehow intercepting the Leviathan in the X-Matrix, the blue aliens destroyed all fleeing fluggers except for the Chorug one. The aliens are called the Yagnu. They ignore us and go after the Jeeps vessels instead.
Скажите главное.
Tell me, Comrade Ivanov, will there be a war with the Yagnu?
Война будет.
There will be a war. With the Yagnu? Hardly. January 9, the year 2622. Sekunda System, Planet Grozny. It's time for the main event. The War from Tomorrow War.
Есть отрыв.
We are under attack. All remaining fluggers are instructed to meet at Zuiho. The military comms are in chaos.
Говорит майор.
This is Major Ulyanich, commander of the 24th Tank Brigade. I have no way of contacting the HQ. What should I be doing, fleet?
Скрывай красный пакет.
Open the red package. It'll tell you everything you need to know.
Внимание всем.
Attention everyone. Today, at 13:30 Standard Time, without the formal declaration of war, the Concordian fleet crossed the border and attacked the United Nations. Began the Clone Wars have.
Я как чувствовал, что
I
к этому
knew
всё
it.
идёт.
I knew this was gonna happen. Why didn't we strike first?
Считать меня идиотом.
Call me an idiot, but I thought we were preparing for the war with the aliens, and the clones would be our friends. The engineer on the Zuiho brings us even more bad news.
Локация Тьерра-Фуэги.
Terra Fuega is being evacuated. The command decided to blow up the station before the clones get it.
Торпедами.
Are we going to use torpedoes?
У нас торпед осталось.
We don't have enough torpedoes, and we don't even know how many it will take. The easiest way is to detonate the station's arsenal. There is not enough time to evacuate it anyway.
Сеньор
Senor Furdik, I came to blow up the station.
Проклятая война.
God damn war!
Сеньор
Senor Furdik, can you hear me?
Какой весенний
We were looking forward to a fantastic spring season. The pilots discovered 5 new mineral sites. It's all for nothing. Rumantsev orders everyone out and places an explosive device in the armory.
Добавлено задание. ожидании.
The further we are into the adventure, the more fun is the story, and the more broken is the gameplay. The clone Fluggers are now refusing to fight us or even to maneuver. In this sequence, we have to intercept a bunch of Concordian torpedo bombers before they hit our grounded capital ships, but they never actually fire a single torpedo. And then we hit another game-breaking bug. Command orders the squadron to destroy the space gate. We are instructed to keep our distance, so I do, and I wait. Nothing happens. The squadron fails to destroy the gate. The projectiles just go through it. I replayed this mission multiple times, same problem. Eventually, in the depths of the Russian not Facebook, someone helpfully pointed out that there is a small part of the gate that does in fact have a hitbox. Comrades, the special purpose squadron is disbanded. Ivanov says we can serve on any ship we want. Andrei picks 3 Saints, a carrier with a space runway and a vodka robot. The Concordians have invaded planet Grozny. There is a tank battle raging on the world below. The officer is urging us to buy war bonds. This is the game's way of giving a mechanical purpose to all the money Rumantsev has earned from his corporate and pirate missions. Steven promised to install powerful cannons on our Flugger if we purchase enough bonds. There are 2 types of tanks, those that attack ground targets and the AAA tanks. Steve's cannons one-shot everything, so this isn't much of a battle.
Есть касание.
Despite the victories at Grozny, the Concordians eventually gained the upper hand. We have to retreat deeper into UN space. January 24th, Parsec 801, Gletscherny Cosmodrome. And who is this? These 2 must be very important in the Russian directory. There is a war museum at the Cosmodrome. Unfortunately, the objects don't seem to be interactive. In the military souvenir store, the South American pilot Gomez is trying to pick up chicks. We know Gomez from Terra Fuega. We tested the Durandal prototypes together. They fixed the flaw in the defense shield that can now be operated in the atmosphere. I'll begin with a question. Do you like ballet? Sure, I especially like ballerinas. The clones managed to seize a yacht that was carrying the Russian directory's top ballerinas. Rescuing them is our next assignment. Durandal is a very capricious machine, and it needs proper gentlemanly handling. Thank you, Steve, but I've already flown a Durandal. In my experience, you'll have to hammer it with your fist a bunch of times, and that solves all sorts of hardware problems. That's exactly what I meant, sir. The targets have been identified. These are the carriers Atur Gushnaps and Atur Farnbag, the famous white elephants. I order all forces to take them out. Adur Gushnasp was the name of a Zoroastrian sacred fire of the highest grade, which served as one of the 3 most sacred fires of pre-Islamic Iran. Fascinating. I'm learning so much. Totsky personally shows up in the hangar to compliment everyone on a job well done. It's a bad sign that the writers decided to emergency develop his personality. I wouldn't invest in Totsky stock. Now, what class of ship do you think this is? Is it a frigate? Is it a battle cruiser? Is it a light carrier like Zuiho? No, it's a space yacht for transporting ballerinas. We have suffered a direct hit. Emergency jump in 10 seconds. Direct hit to the command bridge. Squadron Captain Totsky is gone. Can you play Valse Sentimentale by Pyotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky? Uh-oh, what did we just walk into? 1,000 space devils! Have you been following me, Andrei? You are chasing every skirt, but you fail. This is why you envy me. Listen, Gomez. Don't try to gaslight me. This is an insult. I challenge you to a duel.
мной.
Please don't. I have to, dear Barbara. I have to. In other news, the clones have blown up the Kremlin.
Эти ракетные мониторы
It's the damned missile monitors. They carry hundreds of missiles designed for planetary bombardment. A monitor emerges from the X-matrix, fires all the missiles, and then jumps back. Very hard to defend against.
Получи гостинец. А вот и сеньор Румян.
And here is Senor Rumantsev. Defend yourself, villain! Gomez is not joking. It's a fighter duel to the death. Both of us are flying Durandals that are invulnerable to our own main weapons. The AI doesn't know how to use autocannon, so Gomez can't actually win. All he does is fly around in circles and throw endless insults like a Jagged Alliance character.
Я станцую сальсу.
I'll dance salsa on your grave.
Вся Америка знает.
Everyone in America knows you don't mess with Gomez. The commander of the orbital fortress Schlisselburg instructs us to bring Gomez into their weapons range. And this helps, I think. The fortress is mostly armed with energy weapons. Eventually we do kill Gomez, which sucks, because I kinda liked him.
Вы дрались за
Were you
женщину.
fighting over a woman?
По мнению Гомеса,
Gomez certainly thought so.
И кто же была
And who was the femme fatale? Was it that bitch from the store? Жеребцова or something?
Жеребкина.
Жеребkina, actually. And yes,
Андрей?
Andrei, I am so glad you killed that bastard. After a series of brilliant victories against the clone, the Three Saints sustained so much damage that it had to be abandoned. This game reawakened an old memory of mine. I used to play EVE Online for about a decade, and the name of my character was a reference to this specific carrier from Tomorrowverse.
I was there.
So, what's the conversion rate of space rubles to Zoroastrian bucks? Do we have enough for a 2-room apartment at Sharukin 5?
Да расслабься ты.
Calm down. Go to the store. Get yourself a beer.
Здравствуйте.
Hello, comrade. I'm scared.
Давно пора.
You should be in the bomb shelter. But there was no order.
Ну так я...
I give you an order now. Actually, do you want to go to the museum with me?
Ух ты.
Wow, I've never been here before. So, Andrei, what kind of starship do you drive? Our commanding officer Berdnik keeps talking about secret weapons that should arrive just in time to save us. Yeah.
Внимание, подходим к зоне ожидания.
Oh my god, the UN Wunderwaffe is real. X-cruisers are unique capital ships capable of diving and re-emerging from the X-matrix at precise points of the normal space. They're kind of like space submarines. The Gab expedition to the far corner of the galaxy in search of the rare mineral that was a build-up to this. A squadron of X-cruisers emerged around the Concordian carriers in torpedo range, and the rest is history. Rimush was the first to fall. This is the Xenophon. The Concordians have their missile monitors, and we have this.
Лучше смерть, чем позор плена.
Rumantsev recognizes the voice of Roshni Tervani, the woman he saved, and convinces her to surrender.
Это с пересветом.
After the destruction of their armada, the clones are becoming desperate. There was a failed nuclear attack on the battlecruiser Peresvat by a Concordian frigate. Thankfully, the battlecruiser raised its shields in time.
Все тебе мало, Аспид.
I assume in the books they go into more detail about the Yagnu subplot, but the short version is this. The UN survivors on Grozny have been working to establish diplomatic relations with the aliens, and for a long time, no progress was being made. But then suddenly, the Yagnu became super open-minded once they realized that their weapons can't get past the Durandal shields. So we made a deal. There is a ceasefire. The Yagnu give us space fuel, and in exchange, we vacate Grozny, and presumably they'll blow up the local star. Whatever, Xenos make me sick. But the important thing is that with all the space oil they gave us, we can finally strike at the Concordian homeworlds. July 12, Gletcherny Cosmodrome. This is awkward.
Мы летим
I'm going back to Uyar, and she's coming with me. Lieutenant Tervani is accused of taking part in the orbital bombardment of human cities. This is a lie. I'm a fighter pilot. You think maybe Roshni could be of interest for your organization? Tell me straight, Andrei. Do you love her? The choice. I do. Oh, so that's how it is. Well, congratulations. You are in love with a war criminal. As soon as we take off, a Concordian missile monitor emerges from the X-matrix above the Cosmodrome. Rumyantsev needs to burn for it as fast as possible and take it out before it destroys the grounded transport carrying Roshni and the Red Woman. Today, we must strike the most powerful chords of our Symphony of Fury. We are going to Parkida. We are gonna take their oil. Phase 1. The X-cruisers attack the orbital forts Sharukin 7 and Sharukin 4. This is when we discover a vulnerability in their design. The cruisers re-emerge in the middle of a minefield and get stuck. Command has to send in the conventional artillery ships to finish the job. Phase 2. The bombing run on the grounded enemy Flugers on the surface of Parkida. Phase 3. Return to the Zuiho and get rearmed for space combat. The carrier is refusing to allow us to dock. The game's scripts broke once again. You can reset the scripts by firing on Andrei's commanding officer. Phase 4. The Japanese squadron is reporting that the enemy has a lot more Mithridat launchers than previously expected. We have lost the light carrier Rudzo. The Mithridat platforms are easily destroyed by shooting at their left engine with an autocannon. Thank you, boys. I'm saying this as a commander and as a human being. To lose a carrier to a bunch of space balloons, that would have been too much. Rumyantsev, listen carefully. Here is a secret package. You are to open it once you hear the code phrase, Moscow time. Our Fluger is armed with dumbfire rockets, which are surprisingly accurate and have a very generous AOE. The person in charge of the marine invasion is Stepashin, our OSNAS buddy from the Special Squadron. Many old characters are coming back. Even the confused tank commander from the Grozny evacuation sequence is here. That's the code phrase. We open the package. The new objective is to destroy the anti-air defense turrets in the spaceport. After that is done, a pair of European logistics ships and an X-cruiser land to take control of the object. And then... nothing. Yes, another game-breaking bug. This one I don't know how to fix, and the Russian page is of no help. I believe we are supposed to land in the spaceport, and then the Red Woman would tell us what to do next. Perhaps the reason why the game bugged out has to do with me failing to protect Andrei's girlfriends from the missile monitor earlier. But none of this matters, since the game will be over in about 10 minutes anyway. Fearing the X-cruisers, the Concordian fleets refused our challenge. Their only hope for turning this around is nuclear weapons. The game established that nukes are powerful but unreliable, and they can be stopped by shields. Moscow time was an elaborate diversion. The UN pretended to install a shield generator at the Cosmodrome to protect their armada above the planet. This was fake. The real shield generator is elsewhere. The Concordian nuclear counterattack fails, and their fleet gets destroyed. The war is over. In the closing cinematic, Andrei and Stepashin the Marine watch the Russian space president announce victory. The Concordian nuclear arsenal will be transferred to the United Nations. The Zoroastrians will be subjected to military quotas. Parkida will be leased to the UN indefinitely. We have defeated a strong, stubborn, a worthy adversary. So, about the elephant in the room. Sorry about my voice. I made some bad life choices, again, and got sick. again. So anyways, how did this happen? Why would a foreign person pour their heart and soul into creating a fictional setting described as Russian supremacist? This has to do with the meaning of the word Russian and how it changed over time. Some individuals understand Russianness as a sort of an ancient collaborative project. Many people of different walks of life and ethnic backgrounds historically have contributed to this project. I prefer to call this identity the Old Russians, but there is no real scholarly consensus on terminology. The word means something else today. Tragically, or predictably, depending on one's philosophical outlook, the Russophile culture was betrayed and destroyed by the object of their love. But it is no matter. Everything that happens is a feast for the world spirit. Patron credits, and then I'll share more fascinating Zorich anecdotes. These videos, as well as our RPG/SlavJank book research, are made possible by our backers via the crowdfunding platform Patreon. Special thanks to Jim Lawrence, Danny Kilpatrick, I Feed My Parrot Chicken, Ray Nurs, Ganso Bomber Motherfucker, a two-room apartment in Bobruisk, Belarus, Yuri Solodovnichenko, Mopo, Eric Cerve, Tony Spagoni, Macieva, Frog, Mada Pasta, Celtic, Ilya Rubin, Zazel and Baneful the Doggo, Zakub, father of the Space Noid race, Billy Strayhorn, C6, Darkbot Pumpkin, Snufu, Dmitry Yu, Arkelis, 1967 Ford Mustang.
Wonderful!
These days, the Zoriches seem to be doing fine. In the 2010s, Yana and Dmitry completed their sea training and were issued yacht captain certificates. They currently go on sea voyages in the Mediterranean and the Atlantic. Congrats on making it, I guess. These two are of special interest for our book project because, guess what? They are prolific strategy and RPG developers. They will eventually be a big multi-chapter video about their career. Specifically, Alexander Zorich was involved in a highly sophisticated Soviet-themed Fallout 3 clone that, unfortunately, was cancelled late in development. A fascinating project. Invaluable to advanced RPG science research is the proto-blogging platform LiveJournal that used to be popular in the 2000s. You see, on LiveJournal, instead of making content, individuals would instead journal their lives. It's a priceless tool for researching biographies that allows us, among other things, to explore the evolution of the unique humor style of Alexander Zorich. Let me tell you a joke. The village is starving. Everyone is suffering, the humans and the animals. A rooster, a cat, and a dog gather round to discuss the issue. I'm going to the city in search of a better life, says the rooster. I'm coming with you, says the cat. Hey dog, are you coming? You know what? You go. I'll stay here for another week, and then I'll catch up with you. The rooster and the cat are suspicious. He knows something. What is that he is not telling us? The dog eventually gives up. Yesterday I was lying in the kennel, and the owner came out onto the porch and said, Katerina, if this continues, a week from now, we'll all be sucking the dog's dick. The next video is going to be either Mask of the Betrayer, Lionheart the Medieval Fallout attempt, or Fallout 2, depending on what I feel like playing when this goes live. Support the channel!
Ильтянского халкозавра